Focus. Nice. Oh, for 14 bucks?
Mm-hmm.
Can it really be that good?
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back to the videos, guys. Back on the S2K. We got to pull the front timing cover off of this thing so we can put the new one on. It's got the AN line that's going to allow us to drain the turbo back into the oil pan without having to tap our oil pan. And it's going to be a nice, pretty piece to have on the front of the motor. But in order to do so, we got to start pulling some stuff off. We got an idler pulley to pull off, and I believe we're going to have to pull the water pump pulley off as well. At least it'll make it easier to get to. Yeah, let's get started. We've got the crank pulley, obviously, that's got to come off. We had to get a special tool for that. Rented it from O'Reilly's. It's going to be a Honda crank pulley holder, and you will need 2 1/2-inch guys to make that work. And that's just going to hold that pulley in place while you crank that bolt off out of there. Probably a 14 here and 3 10mm on the water pump pulley. Should hopefully be pretty easy. We're also going to have to take some Allen key bolts out that go through the head into the timing cover, and then some 10mm as well on the oil pan to allow us to pull that forward. One thing I am going to do real quick is take the timing cover. If you've watched any of the other videos on the S2000 build, you'll know that when I got this, there was metal shavings in it. I'm going to go ahead and rinse it out real quick and just make sure all those shavings are gone. That way I don't forget to do this before we put it on the car and then run into issues. So don't mind my plastic bag over my turbo and the wastegate holes. I just didn't want rain getting into it. What we're doing now is pulling off that dumbass Honda crank pulley, and the reason it's such a pain in the ass is they kind of like to seize on there, which that tool I showed you earlier, that's going to help you in this situation. Also, having a beefy boy like Casey will help you out as well.
She was on there.
It was not happy about where it was at. This is a better look at how that tool actually works. It locks into place on the pulley. Actually, I have a second pulley. This is your pulley. It's going to lock into place just like that. And then you're going to use the 1/2-inch on it just to hold the pulley in place while you break the nut loose. That's it.
So we got all the bolts out. Now we just got to figure out how to get the cover off.
Probably gonna have to remove the AC condenser in this case, because we're gonna have to pull the oil pan anyways. And on this car, for whatever reason, the AC condenser mounts to the oil pan. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pull that off. That way we can get access to the side and hopefully pry it out from there. So we were really trying to get that timing cover done the other day, for the most part, at least pulled apart. We didn't have any Honda Bond. I got 2 things of Honda Bond. Now we got to pull the oil pan off because I guess that's required for this. I was really hoping to kind of just pull the cover off without taking the oil pan out, but that's not going to be the case. Now we got to pull the oil pan off. So I got to drain it real quick. I'll drain it, and then we'll go through, pull all the 10mm out. Should be hopefully pretty easy. Reason that we stopped was it was starting to rain. I didn't want internal bits of my motor getting water on them, so we just put it on hold for the time being. Now we're back, and yeah, we're gonna hopefully finish this today. That way, this is the portion that I don't want to do, and that's why we're trying to get it done. We also got that new seal pressed into the timing cover. So this is now good to go, other than Honda bonding everything on the back. So we should be good here. But this is going to look way prettier in the engine bay than that crummy black oil painted garbage that's in there now. So I'm gonna shut up and get started. this is going to spill everywhere. Oh, just a little bit. So weird thing about this oil pan that I've never seen before is the AC compressor actually mounts to it. I am gonna take that off. That's two 14mm bolts on the bottom and 2 on the top. I already did the top ones. So now we just got these guys right there, and then 10mm all around the oil pan. It does overlap into almost the bell housing of the transmission. Then we can drop this guy. I did end up getting the oil pan off. I gotta go around, clean this up. I'm actually gonna clean the entire thing up. That way when it goes back on, it'll at least look halfway decent. Way it can match the new timing cover that we got, the billet aluminum one. I still got to get this timing cover off. I might have to pull the coolant line, which I didn't want to do because this car is a pain in the butt to bleed, but that might be what we have to end up doing. So I'm going to pull out a little bit more, get it off. The only reason I would say that we're going to have to pull that coolant line is that way when we put the timing cover back on, we don't mess up our sealant, our Honda bond. We want a nice, good bond on there, and I don't know if we'll be able to pull that off without pulling that coolant hose. So I'm gonna go ahead, get the timing cover off. That way we can start looking at putting the new one on.
Little part.
Are you recording? What's up, guys? I'm just rinsing off my oil pan. I got it about as clean as I am willing to get it. So what we're going to do now is Honda bond our new timing cover. That way it gets a nice good seal. It's got a nice clean surface as well. So we're going to take this and really just kind of go around every little bit that that is a flat, nice surface. That includes the top portion here because this also goes to the bottom of the head gasket. So we need to make sure that we get a nice good seal on that as well. We're just gonna come down.
Why do you use Honda bond versus like any other bond?
Really, there's just good reviews on it. A lot of people stick with the Honda bond and don't use RTV. I've heard that RTV gray, the oil resistant stuff, also works really well. We've now got a nice layer of Honda bond around everything that needs to be sealed.
Why do you keep turning it? I was gonna
Because
try
you
to show
probably
the
can't
Honda
really
bond.
see it. It is recommended to let it sit for about a minute, let it tack up. We're gonna go ahead, set this on. It is now good to go. And we're gonna put the 2 Allen keys in first just to hold this up into place because we don't really want to break that bead. That's what's gonna give us a nice good seal once it sets up. So we'll put that up, get that set into place, go through, put some miscellaneous 10 mils in that are for the timing cover, not just random ones. And then we're going to move over to the oil pan because that's what's going to seal around the bottom here, and obviously the oil pan, but that's our next plan of action. So we'll move to the car, get this installed, and finally be done with this portion.
What's going on?
Well, we are reassembling everything. We got the timing cover on. It was pretty messy. If you have 2 hands to do it, definitely use 2 hands, 2 sets of hands.
Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, everybody has 2 hands. Well, not everybody. I can't say everybody. Most people have 2 hands.
That could be controversial in today's age.
If you'd like to have 2 hands, you can have them.
I don't know how well you're going to be able to see that right now with it being as dark as it is, but it looks absolutely beautiful, especially compared to that.
Yeah. Womp womp.
Somebody painted that at one point in time, and it's not great anymore. I'm really trying to get this done tonight because there is a storm coming in. And I don't want things being kicked up into the motor, so I'm going to go ahead, probably do the rest of this really quick and get it done. That way this doesn't cause any problems.
If you can't tell, Austin's luscious hair is blowing in the wind.
So that is all done. Everything is torqued up, ready to go. Now that was a little bit more of a job than I would have liked to do in the driveway, but it's done. That was probably going to be the worst, hopefully, probably going to be the worst of what we needed to do as far as getting everything plumbed for the turbo. Everything else should be pretty straightforward. I did find a solution for the VTEC switch. I wanted to tell you guys about real quick before I ended this video. I was actually able to get into Hondata on one of my laptops and see that I can disable the VTEC switch. So that's a big win, because I was really worried that I was going to have to try and find some alternative solution to using a fitting or an elbow or something on the VTEC solenoid itself, but I'm not going to have to do that. So that's awesome. Without further ado, I hope you guys all have a wonderful Mother's Day. This video will probably come out tomorrow. That way I'm not taking away from anybody's time with their family. Thank you all for watching. I'll catch you next time. Peace.